Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. I want you to imagine a hypothetical shopping trip. You walk through the automatic doors of a big box store. Now, you know there are security cameras, right? That's nothing new. But what if the store isn't just watching what you toss into your cart? What if it's watching exactly how you feel? Like, what if the shelves themselves are literally reacting to your mood in real time? Today, we are unpacking some absolutely wild, newly uncovered patent information, along with real-world shopper reports. They point to retail surveillance taking a massive, massive leap forward. We're talking about tech that goes way, way beyond simple theft prevention.
To make sense of all this, we'll hit 5 key areas today: the digital price tag rollout, the mechanics of surge pricing, hidden facial recognition tracking, the wild world of emotion AI and biometrics, and finally, where we draw the line.
So let's start with part 1, the digital price tag rollout.
This is the first and honestly the most obvious technological shift happening in retail right now. By the end of 2026, Walmart is putting digital price tags into all 4,500 of its stores. Let's just pause and process that scale for a second. This is not some tiny pilot program in a couple of tech-heavy cities. It's a massive, unavoidable, nationwide update. Millions of physical paper tags are being completely swapped out for digital screens. Now, on the surface, this kind of just looks like a modernization effort, saving employees from the headache of manually swapping out paper tags. But actually, these digital screens are really just the foundational hardware for a much, much larger economic shift.
Which brings us right to part 2, the mechanics of surge pricing.
All right, so now that we've got these digital screens on the shelves, stores have the power to change prices instantly, and that opens the door for a totally new economic strategy. It's called surge pricing or dynamic pricing. You might be familiar with it from rideshare apps or booking airline tickets, but guess what? It is officially entering the grocery aisle. It's basically the practice of slightly raising or lowering prices in real time based entirely on store traffic and consumer demand, all to maximize corporate profit. Think about it. If the store is absolutely packed on a Saturday afternoon, prices on high-demand items might just tick up a little bit. If it's a ghost town on a Tuesday morning, they might drop back down. Adjusting prices by just a few pennies across millions of shoppers, that translates into a massive revenue bump. It's literally a game of microtransactions on a macro scale.
This is a pretty dramatic shift in the whole consumer experience. Look, the old way of shopping gave us static prices, predictable budgeting, and totally anonymous cash payments. You knew exactly what a gallon of milk cost before you even left your driveway. But this new way of shopping, it brings dynamic pricing, where an item can literally change price on the shelf right as you reach for it, or right before you scan it at checkout. Our source material raises a really practical concern here. Like, how are everyday families supposed to realistically budget for their groceries when prices are constantly fluctuating mid-trip? It fundamentally messes with the reliability of a simple shopping list.
Moving right along to part 3, hidden facial recognition tracking.
So let's shift our focus from the physical shelves over to the checkout lanes. Because here, the surveillance shifts from tracking products to tracking you. Take this super concerning anecdote reported in our source material. A shopper walks up to a self-checkout machine. They didn't enter a phone number, they didn't scan a loyalty app, nothing. Yet the machine greets them by name and says they're automatically connected. Bizarre, right? Well, it gets weirder. The machine then fired off the digital receipt to a completely unprompted phone number that didn't even belong to anyone in their family. It had matched their face to an account, but the data wires were totally crossed. This shopper was understandably frustrated, pointing out a huge privacy issue. Imagine if they had been buying something super personal or embarrassing, only for that receipt to get blasted off to a total stranger's phone just because of a faulty facial recognition match.
And the crazy thing is, that shopper isn't alone. Tons of people are reporting all of these different ways they're being tracked the second they walk through the automatic doors, entirely unprompted. People claim they're getting targeted emails after simply walking into a store and leaving without buying a single thing. And they're pointing out they have no retail app installed on their phone, their store Wi-Fi was turned off entirely, and they entered absolutely zero identifying info at the register. The source material actually highlights speculation that stores are using facial recognition to link identities to really old data. We're talking email addresses given years ago for pharmacy prescriptions. Obviously, this is sparking massive privacy and HIPAA concerns about exactly how old medical data might be getting dug up for modern marketing and tracking.
Which leads to a really pointed question presented in the source material. If facial recognition tech is so incredibly advanced that it can link your face to a decade-old pharmacy email just to track your foot traffic, why are missing kids posters still hanging on a bulletin board at the front of the store? It's a valid question, and it perfectly captures this growing consumer frustration. There's a pretty stark contrast between deploying state-of-the-art surveillance heavily for retail profit and actually using it for public safety.
Let's get into part 4,
emotion AI, and biometrics.
We've talked about dynamic prices. We've talked about facial recognition. But now we're diving into the most deeply invasive patents discussed in our sources. These newly filed patents go way, way beyond just knowing who you are. They actually aim to know exactly what you are feeling. It's called emotion AI or affective computing. These are automated systems that use cameras to read human facial expressions. They're actively trying to detect dissatisfaction, boredom, anger, or happiness, all in real time. According to the source, this tech could identify an unhappy customer and trigger a management intervention before the person even has a chance to complain. Basically, it functions as psychological in-store surveillance. It's no longer just about what you're looking at, it's about what you are thinking about the product while you look at it.
And this brilliantly illustrates how all this comes together. Let's look at the cereal aisle scenario outlined in the source. Step 1, you're walking down the aisle and your kid gets super excited. They're jumping up and down, pointing at a specific box of sugary cereal. Step 2, emotion AI overhead cameras register that high level of happiness and intense demand. Step 3, because the system knows you really, really want it, the digital tags instantly raise the price of that exact item right before you grab it. It is the ultimate fusion of emotional surveillance and dynamic surge pricing.
When you put all of these interconnected patents together, the full scope is honestly staggering. You got facial recognition tracking your identity at the entrances and checkouts, you have emotion AI tracking your mood and feelings in the aisles, and the source material even notes discussions of biometric sensors built directly into the shopping cart handles to track your heart rate while you shop. The surveillance is so intense that the source humorously pondered if they'd need to start wearing crazy winter gloves at the store just to stop a shopping cart from reading their pulse.
Finally, Part 5, Drawing the Line.
So, what does this all mean for us at the end of the day? Let's look at the broader, real-world implications of these intersecting retail technologies. The rapid escalation of surveillance is just undeniable. As the source notes, you were already on camera. You are already tracked, sometimes even if you strictly pay in cash. But now, with these new patents, they want to read your actual emotions and your physical biometrics. What comes next? It really highlights the everyday consumer's love-hate relationship with big retailers. We absolutely love the convenience, the one-stop shop nature, getting what we need immediately. But we have to balance that convenience against this rapidly expanding invasion of our personal privacy.
Which leaves us all with a very important decision to make, as this tech rolls out to thousands of stores over the next couple of years. If knowing who you are isn't enough, and knowing exactly how you feel is the new baseline, where is your line in the sand? Seriously, what threshold of surveillance would finally stop you from shopping at these stores? It's a provocative question and honestly one we're all going to have to answer very soon. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep your eyes peeled next time you walk down the aisle.